Thank you, everyone. So, welcome to this full council meeting on the 28th of April. I'm Jeff Hart. I'm going to chair the meeting. Before we chair the meeting, I just want to pay recognition to two people in the room. First of all, in the room, we've got a councillor who became a councillor for the last elections and has a passion for a certain area and has stayed with that, but overcome so many obstacles. And on Sunday, he had over £600 at his festival sport, for whom we also congratulate him.
Thank you.
So, what about how you think it went?
Well, we just had a meeting before council, actually, those that were actually involved in arranging the day, and really pleased with the feedback. We had 16 organisations represented there. We reckon over 600 people. All the feedback we've had has been very positive. And thanks, Gary. Thanks to the mayor and the town crier for attending as well to set us all off. And to me, it felt a really nice, comfortable day, if that makes sense. Fun, got a bit of active leisure going on. And really great to see over 200 kids, probably kids under 10 mainly, going away with a certificate saying they've done 8 activities. So really pleased. The weather did help. The weather did help.
Okay, well, the other person I just want to mention that is here is just mention Gary to everyone, because without Gary, I won't be able to do any of these things that we're trying to do. And a lot of them rely on him a lot. But he's never let me down. He comes to evening meetings, weekend meetings. So I think he works beyond, well beyond his contract. So, yeah, let's give him a listen. Okay, so you know that the meeting is being recorded. Make sure your phone's on silent. If you can stand if you want to stand, but it's difficult. As long as you raise your hand and facilitate your input and speak clearly how often you are. Apologies for absence.
We received apologies from councillors Training and Chapelwater, both work related.
Okay, can I propose to accept those? Second, councillor Brown. All those in favour? Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you.
Declaration of interest. So,
Yeah,
Brown.
town crier and member of the Wimborne militia, and that's it.
Okay, so, anything else? Yes, councillor Jacks.
Yes, can I just, in view of some of the notes in the last minutes, I'm a member, in particular, I'm a member of Paul Harbour Canoe Club. That was mentioned in the last minutes. Thank you.
Chair of the Folk Festival and bandmaster of the town band.
Okay, thank you. So, those are for those? We don't. Okay. So I'm now going to take item 8.1 and 8.7, because those are the two items Gary's going to speak to, and then you can go. So if nobody objects, 8.1 is about 2 IT quotes, appendix 3. Discuss this at finance. Rod, do you want to say a word about it?
Yeah, so we had 4 companies originally looking for our business to do with keeping our IT infrastructure up to date. We've gone through the loop a couple of times, and Gary's put in a lot of work, so thanks for that. Last time round, we decided to get 2 fully quoted quotes, I suppose, fully built quotes for the likely scenario that we will adopt. And there are 2 companies, one who we currently work with who are Rejuvenate, and then there's Cloudy IT who are more homes towards parish councils. Certainly in the future, I think they'll be incredibly useful for our infrastructure to the associated cost, and with that, I will hand over to Gary, I think.
So a bit of background, Rejuvenate, they're working very hard. They don't want to lose us. They're quite saying that anything that Cloudy IT can do, they can do as well. And when I got the costings, they were slightly convoluted, but when I narrowed it down to the essentials that we require, you can see up there, Cloudy IT was an annual price of 6,500. for that, and then they've said a one-off price of 3,400. The one-off price is what they call onboarding, so bringing you on board as a new customer. But I think I've had a couple of words with them. I think I can get that right down, because they're looking like, if you look at for data migration, that's 1.5 days, 975 quid for, there's no way that's going to take that. And also for the device deployment and onboarding, they've allocated 1,950 quid for that. So the Finance and Governance Committee agreed that councillors will either use their own devices, and recommended it to full council. They'll either use their own devices or they'll use a council laptop. Yeah. So what they would do, they would onboard it on their system. And if you're using your own devices, we're only responsible for the data pertaining to the council information, obviously not your device at all. So there's nothing to do with virus checking or anything else like that. It's called mobile application management. It's just purely and simply what you've got on your laptops with regards to the Office 365 system. And what will happen is that when you log in, that little script will run and say, have they got multi-factor authentication? You tick. Have they got permissions to download this? Tick. Now they can download it. So there's certain criteria to meet in order to achieve that. So that's where we are with that. So then Rejuvenate, as you can see, very close. Annual amount 6,723, they're charging 720 quid, what they call onboarding. One thing that we're missing at the moment in our system, we've got no backup. There's no backup in our system. So if the cloud went down, even though it's Microsoft, we've got no backup. We've got no mirror image of our data. So I think that's a bit of a failing on probably the IT company, because somebody should have said to you, do you realise you haven't got any backup? So part of that onboarding will be the backup, and you can see I've priced up for that. They've priced it up of 968 quid. That includes the license, which is 299 for 27 devices, which you'll have on your own devices as well. So they're very close, but you can see Cloudy IT, for illustration purposes, they're the most expensive at the moment. But I think moving forward, they do offer features which you'll think will benefit local councils, local councillors, with regard to when you come to a meeting, the minutes and the agendas will be nice and neatly tied together, so it makes life simpler for you people. They work with lots of other councils, parish councils. So, over to you people, really.
Are there any weaknesses of Rejuvenate? Have we had good provision?
I think Rejuvenate, I would not, I think, they've done everything we've asked of them.
Councillor Roberts.
I was just going to ask, Chairman, I think some time ago we were discussing the actual computers we've got, and that they were not up to the task we wanted them to do. And I just wondered if we'd thought any more about actually replacing them.
Yeah. About a month ago, I put an email out to all councillors saying, here's the options. We can purchase tablets in order to comply. You can use your own devices, you can use council laptops, or you can use a mix and match of your own device or the council laptop. And everybody came back with saying the tablets are far too expensive further. That was the general gist that came back. I had about 9 responses. I think the tablets on the whole were about 400 quid each. So if you times that by 16, it's quite expensive. So that was that addressed that.
Any comments? Councillor Brown.
Could I ask about security, given we have that business today? Would anything be reliant on whoever we choose?
So that's one of the benefits of Cloudy IT, is that what they do, they'll carry out phishing attacks on all councillors, and they won't realise that they'll send a phishing email and see who responds. And the person who responds and they will then be educated as to what to look for, and potentially go on a hot list.
So they
Yeah.
come to me and say,
Exactly.
you should.
But it's so hard to filter one out.
Yeah.
Like now, I can go onto the system and kill that email address which came into Jeff. I can just eradicate it from the system, so that when you try and come in again using that email address, it won't get through. However, they'll just change the email address and,
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
I just want to make sure I'm clear about it. So really, if you look between the two companies, the actual annual amounts are very similar.
Yeah.
So it's really the one-off amount which makes cloudy. And I think I'm summarising you correctly, saying that actually that one-off amount would give us more potential to develop easily in the future. How you use it?
I think that one-off amount, although it's there and it's there for illustration purposes, I firmly believe that we can reduce that through negotiation with them. Because, you know, when they talk about 1.5 days to onboard,
Yeah.
it won't take 1.5 days.
Thank
We'll have it all prepared on the SharePoint system so that it's quite straightforward to migrate. But it's, when you think about it, there's no migration. We're already there. We're already on the domain, wimborne.gov.uk. There's no migration taking place. It's just them taking over, saying, we're in charge of your system now.
Councillor Nash?
So one of the points which came up in the couple of times we visited this appliance to governments was that this is not just for councillors, this is for staff as well, and it really does make a bigger difference to them, I think, than it does to us. The expressions that were made during last talking point around this was that the folder structure needs a revamp. That would be a thing that would be easier to do if we transfer into a different IT system. And yes, whilst the costing for one-off is higher, obviously, I got the general impression from the staff that we asked that they would rather move into Power IT. I think it's my preferred option, but obviously there is a cost associated with it.
Okay, do you want to make a proposal?
Yeah, so I'd like to propose we take the Power IT route, potentially with the, so I didn't quite realise this, potentially with some kind of backup as well, if we can get that through Power IT. If we're making that, that's probably quite.
So Councillor Weaver seconded. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? One. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Can I just thank Gary personally for making that so easy, because once we got the first round of information, it was almost impossible to get through, so thank you very much.
Councillor Nash, we've already given one round.
I'm not
Okay, and the second item Gary's involved with is 8.7 about the Christmas lights contract for the next 3 years. Chris, do you want to know about this?
Yeah, the quotes came in. Gary again sort of presented some really good information regarding the quotes that we got. There is a difference, if I'm correct, Gary, correct me though if I'm not. There is a difference between them, and the big problem I think Gary spotted was that the fixings for a lot of the lights are not quite a lot. They need to be checked and they need to be properly secured, and that there was a lot of discussion about how much that would cost us or cost them, and one of the companies hadn't actually sussed it out properly ever. But you thought that one company had sussed it out or presented it, is that correct?
I can add further to that. So since then, Slick highlighted that there's 3 areas we need an infrastructure upgrade. Yeah, there's Lye Road, down the bottom of Lye Road. There was across Westborough and also part of High Street North. I went to the company that was recommended to this meeting, and I asked them if they considered it, and they said no. So I said, can you give me a quote for these areas? They came back and gave me a quote for how much it would cost for the infrastructure upgrade. And I have got that information now.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other questions? So the 3 companies, the price is coming out.
Yeah.
Is there much difference?
Yes, quite a bit of a difference. Do I mention companies, or am I allowed to mention companies or not?
I've been quite obvious with the festive lighting and the slick on the appendix document, so yeah, it's fine.
I think what came out of the Calc meeting was that two companies were in the running.
Yeah.
But however, the Calc kind of proposed and agreed that a festive lighting company were the best option and was to seek out how much the infrastructure upgrade would cost. And then the only additional thing which is not included in the quotes, although Slip included it, is the Christmas tree, price of the Christmas tree. And what we agreed with the Calc was that I would go along and try and get some quotes to source a Christmas tree. Slip were quoting £3,600 for the transportation and installation of the tree. Festive lighting don't want to get involved. They said it's just not worth our efforts. It'll probably cost you more. So we're tasked with seeking out a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I think the other thing that was telling, Gary, was, your opinion, not opinion, but your experience on working with, various different contractors and things.
Yeah.
And you, I know you're not being put in the spot, I probably am putting you in the spot, which would you?
I mean, I've worked with Slick and I admire Slick, what they do. Sometimes we have problems, but I was slightly disappointed in how it was a feeble effort of West Street. Yeah, it was a feeble effort, and it was, when I walked around town with them, they were saying that it's just too low, so you can't walk across. So we went back to them, and you'll probably see on these quotes, we've quoted for them so that as you're coming over Julian's Bridge and you're entering the town, the roundabout there, the junction, there's 5 lampposts, I think, 5 or 6. Is to swag all these lampposts as you enter the town from that end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've just come further up West Street towards a bit further on than Ringens, but it's difficult to go across because of the height we've got. I think it's 5.4 metres that they've got to be, especially with the double-decker bus coming in.
Yeah, councillor Sandy.
Well, they always used to do, I mean, I'm very interested in West Street, because I've got businesses in West Street, and previously the lights used to go all the way up, I think past John March's gunner shop. We feel, particularly in my tenants, feel particularly excluded from it because they have to pay for it, and can't see why the infrastructure is still there. It's still up. I don't quite honestly quite accept that it's a height problem. It might be for double-decker buses, but it's been in there before. It used to go all the way up, and it doesn't. And
Do any of these companies help with
I
that?
think it's a recent amendment to legislation where they've said that anything going across the road where you've got traffic, it's got to be, because it's going to allow for droop, heavy weather, and that kind of stuff. So they're saying it's the height restriction is 5.4 metres. So they won't install anything that's below 5.4 metres. So, because they say it's unsafe, if anything occurred, then they'd be liable.
Councillor Roberts.
I think in the past we have had the lights there, and I know that Gary last year, he had told me about the height restriction and everything. But we did have some, but that was courtesy of a couple of the shops there, which were against the houses. And we have in the past had the lampposts decorated, and I think I've reiterated time and time again that West Street is one of the main access ways into town from the west and the north. And it was very, very dismal. And the other thing is, what sort of lights are we going to have across the streets where it is viable? Are we going to have these things that we've had in the past, which to me, they don't mean anything. They don't look like anything. I thought, I thought at first that they were angels, but they're not. They were just abstract designs.
Okay, Gary,
Good point. Yeah, as part of this proposal, there was 3 options. First option was motifs, what he was trying to describe. The second option is icicles. Yeah, and the third option was the extras working with BID, where they wanted to go down my road, Eastbrook Way, Eastbrook Terrace, Mill Lane, High Street North, High Street South, coming up to the corner, Pie Corner, Yeah, and also using icicles across Westborough rather than these,
Yeah,
what you described as, yeah, I must admit, they didn't look good.
Town clerk.
Actually, can I just-
No.
Can I just add to that, that we, at that meeting, we had the, Tammy was there and the bid had a preferred option, didn't they?
It was festival.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
That's all right. Isn't it?
yeah, I think the bid, yeah, they elected to go with Festival Mine.
Councillor, town clerk.
So I think you can tell me if this is wrong, councillor Brown, but you did say in the meeting you preferred option 2. So that's why on the images show the icicles.
Councillor Wheeler.
So I think on 31, on slide 31, you've got the lights that are on the lamp posts. Is that correct?
Sorry, I can't, slide, is that the one, is that Pie Corner?
Yeah, so my understanding is what you would do at Pie Corner is that you would dress the lamp posts and create, and there, and keep going, just there. So that they're on the lamp posts, aren't they? So you would dress the lamp posts and create light that way if you couldn't get the
No, it's not.
no lamp posts and
It's in the proposal.
so you would do something on that roundabout, is what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
So that as an entrance where you have that,
There is an illustration.
There
of how
is.
it's decorated.
yeah, and that's quite important to, yeah. So but that's what we had a look at from festive lighting, to try and dress the light, so you've got something interesting as you come into town at Pie Corner. And then if we could dress down Pie Corner, then, sorry, dress down Cross Street, then you've got an entrance into town, even if you can't go over the top until you can then put the icicles over the top. I agree with Councillor Rollins, having those gantries with lights that don't really do anything is they're more expensive than putting icicles.
Yeah.
Just for icicles, keep it simple and dress the town with as much light as we can. You know, for the rest.
So, we've come to a conclusion. Anyway, of the two bits that we're really talking about, which one have you got most confidence about you working with?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I was quite impressed with Festive Lighting, but they don't, I think there's more work to be done on the connections, the electrical connections throughout the town, whereas Slick know the electrical connections, they know the limitations and so forth, whereas Festive Lighting, there's going to be another visit, but I mean, that's their business, they do it with the council's Festive Lighting.
Yeah, Councillor Nash.
Sorry, bringing back the money, but how much has it been putting into this?
Well, that's a great question. The bid, prior to that, on the old scheme, the bid put in, I think it was 10 grand, but they also paid 4 or 5 grand separately for a company called CES to decorate down the corner of where Lewis Manning charity shop is, along that road there, and a little bit on Mill Lane. Well, I've included that in this quote, so it's highly likely the bid will put more money in because they don't have to spend that money on that corner. She hasn't agreed how much yet as a bid, so I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Jackson.
Just an observation, really. I think the quotes come in under the budget allocation we've given, which is a pleasant surprise.
Okay, Councillor Wheeler.
So I think to move this on and reading the room at the council meeting, I'd like to propose festive lighting. Because I think their whole approach thus far has been more effective in terms of how they care about what the town looks like, rather than just putting up lights. And that was what I got from their quote, was that they care, they're not going to be happy if we're not happy, and I like that approach. But I do, the caveat is that we have got to source a tree. So I'd like us to go local for the tree, if we can.
Or should we just sort out the lighting?
Yeah, so for me, I'm happy to propose festive lighting, and we tighten down quite.
Second, okay, all those in favour? Anything against or abstaining? No, okay.
If you want a price comparison, just to.
Will we have to do the lighting then for the tree?
No,
No,
the lighting for the tree is included, not the tree, so we have to get transported into the hall, wedged in, they'll come and then dress it.
Okay, Thanks very much, Gary. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
great.
If we move back now to the agenda, so item 5, those the police aren't here. The ward councillors aren't here. In terms of town mayor, we've had civic events. So we have a drop-in session with the deputy mayor at the Allen Community Centre on the 9th of April. I attended the Wimborne Business Awards at Merley House on the 11th of April. Went to a charity event altogether at Melody in Tivoli on the 15th of April. And with the town sergeant and choir, hosted the town mayor's civic day at Kingston Ice in Malton Ware. On the 16th of April, I attended the groundbreaking ceremony at Wimborne Victoria Hospital. On 19th of April, we all opened the inaugural Wimborne Sports Festival. So, okay, so that's what I've been up to. Should we go around the room? So if you want to just talk about anything you've done while you're representative, the future report. That's all right.
Yeah, well, I was a substitute for a substitute, at the Wimborne Wilding, relaunching Wimborne Wilding Beach Trail. And I acted on your behalf, but anyway, it was actually a really very interesting and very good day, actually. The turnout was great. And what you realise is how much in Wimborne we rely on the really good work of volunteers and community activists, because they're the people that actually make our strategic plan live. And
I've always been impressed with Wimborne, planning Wimborne, because they do things.
they do.
They're launching every month, aren't they, a trail around town?
And they are completely expert in what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got their state, they've got their ways, but they are very expert.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Richmond?
Nothing to report, Chair.
Thanks.
Nothing in addition to the festival.
Councillor Brown?
Yeah, councillor Ryan and myself met with Rebecca to discuss the establishment of a Friends of Wimborne Cemetery. And since then, I think councillor Ryan has had some further information on looking at the Godsacre and Planet Wimborne. And Planet Wimborne are very positive about wanting to see this develop. So that was very interesting. And I've also got to talk, doing a tour of the cemetery on Sunday, 17th of May at 2 p.m. And if anybody could put a poster up for me, I'd really appreciate that before you go. That would be lovely. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I, along with some other speakers, spoke at the East Dorset Planning to propose the building of 49 houses on the only green space between ourselves and Coal Hill. And we were successful in batting back that proposal to grant the application. This is a start. I think there's still work to be done to secure that site. And I must admit to having sat through the meeting and watched it back, having reservations at the diplomacy that appeared to be lacking. But that's something that I would take up with 10 o'clock.
Okay. Councillor Hector?
Well, I attended the Civic Day and it was very nice to meet all the other mayors and have a chance as councillor, to go there and see everyone and the High Sheriff. And also Speedwatch, still ongoing, still doing good work, and data is certainly starting to make a difference. I think there's some movement now about the crossings on Cranbourne Road. So yeah, keep going with that.
Oh, right. So Laura?
was thinking, there was, St Margaret's and Stones have proposed to amalgamate with a very small charity which has a pair of semi-detached houses out in the niches. And they're going through with that, which, we've got in St Margaret's and Stones, we've got the money to do it, whereas the other ones haven't, which is the Galloping Trust. So that was that. And I'd just like to ask the mayor a question. How many parking spaces was there in the new hospital?
Oh yes, because I went and opened that. I'd say it was about 50.
It's all right, it's just the fact that I was told not long ago that the money that was used for that was for an MRI scanner. And I just have my thoughts on that 3 million for a car park against an MRI scanner is not in my remit, but I just can't put it all together and think of how we could have benefited from the other.
Oh, they've just put proposals forward for the future, so I'll just check that. Councillor Sandy.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Nash.
Nothing before other than attending the Fair Trade Committee on the 13th of April, which was all planning for the Green Festival, etc.
Good. So I'll try and mention.
Just that the new member stuff started last week. Yeah, doing really well, and please come in and say hello to it and pass them through.
Catherine. Okay, moving on to item 6, all council minutes 21st of March. So,
Sorry, it's the
31st of
Yeah.
March. Okay, 31st of March minutes. Any comments about it? Anybody want to propose to accept them? Councillor Wheeler, seconded by Councillor Billington. All those in favour? Anybody against or abstaining? No.
Abstaining.
Committee minutes and work group notes, item 7. So you've got them there from the planning and environment, finance and governance, community events and liaison committee. We just need to note those. But anybody got any comments about those? Councillor Nash.
I was astounded to see absolutely no typos throughout the entirety of it. So congratulations to her on that.
I'm not saying that's sad, but anyway. Let's move on to 8. So we've done item 1. So, Rod, do you want to say a word about a 5-year forward budget plan?
Sure. The financial officer and the clerk have put together a 5-year budget. It came to finance and governance and we attacked it with spears. There wasn't an awful lot to do actually. It's a really well put together 5-year plan. We did change some things, so the funding for the youth services at £80,000 a year was dropping down after the first year. We decided that it would be best to keep that in. And some of the ways that the averaging was done across the years, 3 or 4 of us had items that we were curious about, and we got full answers on all of it. We were very, very satisfied with the work that Jenny's done a great job there.
Okay, do you want to propose that we accept that?
I would love that we accept this as the 5-year budget.
Councillor Jack, seconding. All those in favour? Nobody against or abstaining? 8.3 is the annual risk management review. Sorry, Robert, I'm coming through your committee again.
There's only 3 risks in this register which are moderate or indeed above low, which means that the mitigations that have been in place put in place by the officers are working really well. The auditor said as much as well. It's a really good piece of work and it continues forever, but we're in a good place at the moment.
Okay.
I'd like to propose to adopt it.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favour? Everybody. Good. Then 8.4, we did a workshop with Rod and Lauren, and we now want to consider the frequency of cycler meetings. This is a proposal in appendix 6. Would you say a word, Rod?
Yeah, so the work that comes out the back end of that, we've actually tasked the mayor and the deputy mayor with going through each of the chairs of each of the committees to see if we can convince the committees to, especially the working groups and the steering groups, become less of a tax on officers' time, let's put it like that, in different ways and try and find ways that we can gain efficiencies. Beyond that, the list of the frequency meetings that's been presented here hasn't changed all that much from last year, but we'll be doing some more work as we go forward. There's a lovely typo there, because I do spot them. The following working groups will be submerged into the following committee, given that it's the River Island chalk stream. Assuming was the idea. Yeah, but again, we're trying to pare this down to try and get less officer hours required so that we don't have to keep employing more staff.
Okay, any comments? Okay. So, Clark? Okay, do you want to close that?
I would love to.
Okay, anyone want to second that? Councillor Billington, all those in favour? And that's everything. Okay, then item 5 is about the Development Filling Association, not the Binding Association.
No,
So Lou, do you want to lead on this?
So, so we're considering the council representative roles.
Oh, yeah,
So this came from the Finance and Governance Committee. It was something that I put together, and I've done some more work. I and AI have done some more work, and my suggestion is that we move forward to make it less traditional and more aligned to our strategic plan, basically, which my recommendations are below. So I don't know if everyone has any questions or.
so is your opinion that rather than link to a particular group, we've got like more people?
Yeah, and partner up, so there's more resilience around it.
Right.
How would, have we got any gauge or understanding of how the organisations that we've been supporting would feel about this? We've got to that stage yet, but we're asking them.
Certainly have.
No, I wouldn't, unless, I didn't want to go out there until it was,
Sorry.
yeah.
Okay, other comments? So Nash.
yeah, whilst we're thanking officers, this was a really good piece of work. It's a very good report, and thank you to Claude. It makes the thing clear, the purpose of this. I was kind of a little bit confused about what it's meant when we discussed it initially. This is worth reading if you haven't, basically to try and understand why this is important. The implementation's pretty straightforward, but there's a lot of difference that it can make in terms of actions that actually happen. So where we all sit on external committees, it's almost like a third wheel a lot of the time. I love going to the Fair Trade meetings. I genuinely believe in what Fair Trade do, and I think a lot of us do this because we have a particular interest in the things that we're members of. But rather than it being a required facility for Wimborne Town Council to sit on the committee, it would actually just be a point of contact. I think the thing that scared me the most was, not scared, but worried me the most is that I wouldn't be able to attend that committee meeting every time as a Wimborne Town Council. I don't think this will stop you doing that. So don't fear it. But it would just mean that there's a route and a accountable route for the work that they might want us to do to come to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I think this particular item needs a lot of thinking about. Nevertheless, given the way that the various groups that we work with contribute to the realisation of our strategic plan, it really is a very useful sort of way of saying, you know, a sort of conduit for us, I suppose, having some idea of what's going on and also sort of leading it to some extent.
I think also, if we look across more than one small group, we can help those small groups think beyond where they normally work, in a way, make it a wider. Okay, any other comments? Councillor Weaver.
So I know that there's some that pull you in. They want you to go to their sessions. And when I first started on this, it was very official. So you were expected to go to their meetings as a member of their group. It feels like over time it's watered itself down a little bit in some areas. And it's less like that and more of a pick up the phone if you need a hand sort of way. So I think the proposed way forward is better for everybody in my opinion.
Of course, sometimes we build very good relationships and we end up being trustees of these groups. It keeps us very closely involved. Okay, anything else?
Well, you need to, if someone wants to propose something, because we will decide our representative roles at our annual meeting in May. And if you wanted to have a different way of going about it, it will be presented differently.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the advantages of it. The examples that are quoted in the conclusion, I don't think are particularly useful because Salisbury's 50,000 people and Northampton is one of the largest towns, 150,000. And they are 25 councillors each, 10 officers each. On a big scale, I'm sure, yeah, it's probably quite useful. On our scale, I don't know, I personally feel we are very committed to town culture. We're very committed to emerging neighbourhood plan. I think it may well be something to explore later in the year rather than now.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Roberts.
I think, Chairman, it is very, very important that we have contact and input into all of these little, some of them are little, some of them are bigger, organisations we have in the town. It shows that we care and that we want to be involved, and we should be involved because we've been elected to represent all these people that do all these volunteer things in the town, and I think it is essential that we are represented. I don't know that you have to attend every meeting, it just depends on the frequency of those meetings. I go to Wimborne in Bloom and that's once a month. I learn quite a lot from that about what is happening and one thing and another. So I really think it's important that as town councillors, we are represented within the town.
Thank you. Would somebody like to propose?
Yeah, I think reading the room that I'd like to propose that we do more work on this. So, whilst it would be nice to get this implemented by May, I don't think that's a sensible timescale for the amount of work it would take. Can I propose that we start to talk to the external organisations and feel how they respond to this and try and work out a way of doing that?
Yeah.
What's the best way to get that done, Town Clerk?
I think the best way to do that is through the community mental liaison committee.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, I propose we send it to Kelvin for review and further work.
Okay, I think so. Seconded by Councillor Wheeler, all in favour? Against? Abstain. Okay, thank you.
Oh yes, so we received correspondence from the Belong Swimming Association asking for a different representative. I don't know if you want to do it now or wait until May. We have got a visit coming up. It would be good to get a representative sorted sooner than later.
Right. Don't comment, Councillor Sandry?
Yes, I was rather surprised to receive this. I've given this organisation quite serious support over the 2 years nearly that I've been on it. I think of the 17 committee meetings, I've attended 14, which is excess of 80% attendance. And so I'm slightly mystified as to why I wasn't able to, and I did it. I gave them my apologies, the apologies were accepted, but this now seems to have become an issue.
I'm surprised really because you always talk. These things very enthusiastically.
Well, you know, I have, I mean, I've been involved with, this year in particular, I drafted and agreed with Gary the protocol for the civic ceremony. I liaised with Gary regarding the funding because the association didn't want to pay for the hire of the Allendale Centre. You know, I've personally introduced the president to Emma for the town culture, and I've advised her to speak to Emma regarding what the association wants to do or can do with regards to town culture. I organised a town tour with Malcolm Angel to take place to take the French round Wimborne, which the committee declined to take up. As you know, I attended the line, the president of the association didn't attend, I attended on behalf of the council. I gave a speech to the mayor and the Boulogne Town Council over there. I did that at my expense, 3 days of my time, which I don't begrudge at all, thoroughly enjoyed it. But I've also participated, we did this, again, it's another one of my suggestions to them was to put together a production of the Petty Crowns. What I saw with the association was a need to become a little bit more of a French cultural society rather than, and because they're very concerned, because they have a membership problem without question. Their events are not particularly well attended, and I made some suggestions, and we put together the Petty Crowns.
Okay, I think you're indicating you've done a lot of things with that.
I believe so. I believe so. I've assisted in events.
Right back to them.
But I also would just like to make the point that, and this may be, maybe this is my misconception, but I'm the town representative. I'm not a member of the association. And so I think when, they say, oh, you've got to take part in the general running of the association, I'm not quite sure that's correct as a town representative. So, it's not the most pleasing.
See, not at all. Yeah, town clerk, any advice?
But I'm happy to stand aside if it would be easier.
Right, Councillor Roberts.
As a town council, and the Wimborne Barn was set up by the town council, we are all members of that, as we are of Oxenford. But Oxenford, I think, is an entirely different matter because you can't just nip over the channel and you're there. So, and the people that are were interested are a lot older, and young people aren't interested in twinning associations. They'd rather go somewhere in the Balearics where it's warm and sun and sea and the other S.
Very good, thank you.
Something like that.
Okay, so.
With a few less of that to it.
Full council needs to consider what it would like to do, and would it like to delegate authority for Councillor Stanley to go back and have a meeting to see if they'll consider, do you want to stay on, ask to be kept on?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't have a lot of confidence in them to be able to produce something that is that's a personal position. And I think given this, which they never mentioned to me, and I'm there and I'm available, I think some of the, no, it's not unpleasant, but I feel some things aren't warranted. And I don't really want to work with them anymore, to be perfectly honest. Again,
Councillor Nash.
Can I propose then that we write as town council to the Twinning Association, making clear in the friendliest way possible that the running of the association is not really what we're trying to do here. And whilst we're sorry that we didn't want our representative on their board, we will present them with another one come the round of delegation.
We are going to do all that.
Or not.
Yeah, we're going to elect these representatives very soon.
Or not.
On it. Okay, was that a proposal? Seconded by Councillor Roberts, all those in favour? Anybody against? I'll have to vote. Okay, all in favour? Okay, so, Chris, in terms of reference for the committee, whether it's incorporated the town liaison group, that group, would you just say a word about this?
Yeah, for many years, there's been the town liaison group, which has had a fluctuating membership and attendance. And it, to be honest, isn't much. And so the thought being that it might be better placed if we use our time a little bit differently. Is that fair?
If it's absorbed into the committee, let's say,
Yeah,
and the membership is opened up to non-councillors.
yeah. Because that's where our interface should be, rather than an ad hoc group that nobody has got control of, which is what it is. There's no constitution, there's no officers, it's not something I think in this day and age we should be part of without any accountability.
I think it's quite exciting for us to have a group that's councillors and, people who aren't councillors.
Yeah,
So.
that looks right.
Yeah.
Can I also support that when the town meeting group last met and we proposed this, they were fully on board with coming to the council meetings.
And one month later.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to propose that, Chris?
Yeah, I probably won't know what the words are, did you want to say?
Yeah, but man,
Very much.
just to say that Celts are becoming ever more important in the way that we communicate with our constituents. I think it's a very exciting, change. But I'd also like to, having praised so hard for the lack of spelling mistakes earlier, really go for incroposting in the heading of the appendix A. And liaison now, that's what.
Yeah.
That's all. But yeah, it's pretty lovely idea. I think it'll go great guns.
Good.
I'll just put it down.
Okay, so
Yes, can we propose that the town liaison, I'm sorry, what's it called? Yeah, it's disbanded and the operational matters come to the CELC.
okay. Seconded by Councillor Weir, all those in favour? Anybody abstaining or against? No, okay, thank you. Okay, now an exciting item, item 9. I'll look at item 10. The Wimborne Cemetery. So there's an activity report today, appendix 10. Any comments on that? So we'll just note that.
Sorry, I just thought activity is not the word for the cemetery.
Thank you for that interjection. Okay, item 10, volunteer of the year. So you looked at we've got 3 nominees for the annual volunteer of the year award. And we're going to decide tonight who we think should best fit that title really. So any comments, anybody? Councillor Nash.
Just to say that, the only one of these 3 that I have any experience of is Nikki Harper, who comes religiously to the Planning and Environment Committee meetings, and she's like a free member of staff. She's fantastic, dedicated, and reading about some of the work she's done in and around the one would get my vote, but my ears are open to everything.
Okay, yeah, comments?
I mean, I've got a general observation that I didn't know that, maybe it's my fault, but I didn't know this was coming up. Because I was quite concerned, I was quite keen to get the men's mental health group involved, see if they would do something.
It was advertised quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I missed it, but I think, well, I don't know if they missed it, but they said it didn't apply, and I think they would have done a good, so I would have supported that. But anyway, I should be more observant next time.
Okay.
All sorted.
Yeah, Councillor Hector.
Well, I think they're all very worthy, but last year I did submit Nikki Harper, and to know that she's up again this year, I do agree with Councillor Nash that she's just fantastic. And she's been in the voluntary stuff since she was 18.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that how many hours do you think now that she's dedicated to everything, and how many things she's achieved? This is the least we can do to say thank you.
I think also she's amazing the way she sent a message out saying we planted 100 trees the weekend at some place.
Yeah.
So her attendance at the meetings is like minimal compared with what she did every weekend in the week. Okay, so do you want to make that proposal, Councillor Nash?
Yes, I would. I would like to propose Nikki Harper is our volunteer of the year.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Roberts, all those in favour? Nobody against, okay, good. Easier than I thought it might be.
Check.
Yes.
Did the other entrants get a response from us, or is it just flat at that point? So
They'll get a response.
Oh, yeah, like, thanks for that.
Obligation, I think, yeah.
And so we'll meet Nikki at the annual mayor making on 9th of June to present her with the trade race. Okay. Correspondence, so 11.1. This is about the consultation on electoral review at Dorset Council by the local government boundary commission. And there's a link there. We need to respond. We either delegate authority to the town clerk to respond, or we can set up a small task and finish group to respond. So that's the choices really.
Or we can send it to Pete, so.
Or we can send it to peace, which I know the council would love. Any comments or councillor Nash?
So I had a quick look on their website, and there's no boundary condition change for either Wimborne, Minster or Colwell. So do we actually need to respond to this? Is it required?
There's an opportunity for us to challenge that if we want to.
Councillor Wheeler?
There might be obvious changes that we would want to make. So it's definitely worth a review. I'm happy to take it to PEC if that's where people can go.
Okay, do you want to propose that?
Okay.
Second. Second, all in favour? Anybody abstaining against? No. Okay, carry by everybody. And then 11.2, well, that's about from Tivoli, I've written to them about Katie Hopkins, so we're just noting that response really. But there is quite a big campaign against this taking place, you've probably seen Facebook. Okay, councillor, Wheeler, do you want to lead on the motion number 12?
Yes, I mean, this follows the meeting, the last full town council meeting. This is really to ensure that Wimborne Minster Town Council is involved in any capital spend that might happen if there is indeed a capital budget of 5.5 million that Dorset wish to spend on the town. I'm not necessarily saying we have the right to take over and choose where it's spent, but I think we should be involved in any discussions about where it could be spent. So I propose that we send a note to Dorset Council requesting that privilege.
Yeah, I think also there's some documentation I had about that, they're thinking about our roles. We'll both sides need to play their roles fairly, which hasn't been happening ever.
Could I ask, I get a bit confused about all this stuff. Is there any statutory obligation for them to do this?
To
Communicate with the
governance.
Well, last month we signed a statement of reasonable expectation, which dictated we're supposed to have two-way and transparent communication.
Mhm.
And it's my observation they drastically failed in that.
That's why this is a good time to sort of this.
I mean, we had Councillor Nick Allen sit here and tell us that we have open door policy and that everything is transparent between us and it's tier 1 and tier 2 authorities. That we've got evidence that hasn't happened. This is to correct that, and anybody that knows me, I don't really look back. I try and fix forward, and I think this is a way of fixing forward, just to make sure that we go forward in a collaborative way. We have to put the past behind us, which is where it is, and move forward. And that's what I propose we do.
Okay, Councillor Nash.
Yeah, just on that, the statement of reasonable expectations, really nice piece of work by DABCC. What's happened before has happened before. It's always been chaos. We know this. We really do need this to go well going forward because there's an awful lot of stuff coming down the path. I really like the wording of this request that DC confirm how they will facilitate the use of state obligation. I think that's the right tone. I think we need to be a little bit careful because it's the first point of contact with this new agreement, basically.
So it's in there, isn't it, in the last sentence really, how Dorset Council intends to facilitate. Exactly. Yeah, good. Okay, Councillor Blitzen.
Because I agree with that. There's a degree of expectation there rather than just being a request. And I'm also concerned about the finance. The 5.5 million seems to be hanging around for a long time. I don't know what happens to the interest that accrues on that, where that is put, because it should not be a spend. Does anything happen with that? I'm purely asking.
It's Dorset Council's nothing to do with those, so
So,
no idea.
okay. And the other thing I'd just like to raise is the Youth Cafe Committee. I don't know if it has any standing how is it formed? How are the members selected?
So we did discuss that as part of the last full council meeting, so it's a little group of people who meet, but they've never really communicated with us.
But they have communicated with, also,
I think they have, would be done.
Yeah,
So-
but I can tell you, because
No,
I.
I don't, it's not on the agenda. I don't like it to be recorded now when we don't have it on the agenda. And it was covered at the last meeting. I'm very happy to show you the notes there and I can talk to you about that at another time, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
When did you propose that?
Tony proposal?
Yeah. Happy to.
Catherine Nash, I'll second it. All those in favour? So will be. Okay, and then future meetings, we need to mention here, on 5th of May, it's HR committee and also finance and governance. Things on that date. Catherine Nash. Is that right?
Yeah, we're doubling that from grade 7 and 7:45.
Jolly good.
And planning on the 12th of May, and also 12th of May is now the annual Bristol meeting.
Yeah. But there'll be correspondence and PR going on about that tomorrow, published.
And 26th of May is the annual full council meeting. Okay, so I'm going to close the meeting.
Well, I remind them to hold on.
Councillor Whelan.
So the annual parishioners meeting is on the 12th of
May.
Okay, I've got an email saying it's 12th of June, so I panicked. So that's the.
You said that. It has to be May, statutory right.
I'm happy for it to be May. 12th of June is the first day of the boat festival.
No.
Yeah,
Is that date in your head?
just a little bit, yeah. So it's 12th of May, I'm no time.
Okay, I've just lifted the gavel then, so I'm closing the meeting at 8:03.
Who wants a vote done?
Yeah, I'll take one, Chris.
Can't refuse, you know.
I know, but
Yeah, I'm still in.
That's a lot of picture.